My name is Mira Halden. I am 34 years old, and for 11 months, I rebuilt the grant file that saved my hometown's historic hall from closing. On my sister Brynn's wedding morning, she texted, "Stay away, you'll embarrass us." She did not know the mayor, the venue director, and the final occupancy permit were all waiting for my signature. The text arrived at 8:12 in the morning while I was standing in my bathroom with one earring in and the other still in my palm. I remember that detail because the earring was my grandmother's. Small pearl, silver post, nothing expensive enough to impress my mother, but the kind of thing that made me feel steady. Grandma Isla had worn them to every town meeting she ever attended, even the ones where men talked over her until she opened a folder and made the room regret it. Brynn's message sat on my screen like a door slammed from the inside. "Stay away, you'll embarrass us." No explanation, no apology. No, "I'm stressed" or "Mom made me send this." Just 7 words from the sister whose reception I had helped make possible without her knowing. For a full minute, I did not move. Then my phone buzzed again. "And please don't call Dad. He agrees." That was the part that got me. Not the wedding, not the dress I had already steamed and hung on my closet door, not the little silver gift box on my dresser with the bracelet I had saved 2 months to buy. It was the confidence. The whole family had discussed me, voted on me, and decided I was safest as an absence. I put the second earring in anyway. My family had always treated my life like a footnote. Brynn was the picture. I was the caption nobody read. She was glossy, loud, easy with people, the kind of woman who could enter a room and make strangers turn their shoulders toward her. I was the one who fixed printer jams at family parties, drove elderly cousins to appointments, and knew which uncle needed low-salt soup. At 22, Brynn became a wedding photographer because she loved beautiful rooms. At 24, I became a municipal compliance officer because I liked making sure beautiful rooms did not collapse on people. My mother, Colette, never forgave me for choosing a job she could not explain in one sentence. "Mira works with forms," she would say, usually with the same face people make before apologizing for traffic. My father, Rafe, called me practical. In our house, practical meant useful but not impressive. Brynn called me the clipboard. 6 years later, the clipboard saved the wedding venue she had been bragging about for months. The Harrogate Civic Hall sat at the edge of our downtown square, a brick building with arched windows and a ballroom ceiling painted with faded clouds. My grandmother had danced there in 1968. My parents had their anniversary party there when I was 12. Every mayor promised to restore it. Every budget cycle found a reason to wait. Then the back stairwell failed inspection after a winter leak. The elevator was out of code. The kitchen ventilation system had not been updated since the 90s. The town council voted to close the hall indefinitely unless someone could find outside funding. That someone was me. I did not do it alone. No good public project happens alone. But I built the file, I found the rural preservation grant, I corrected the first rejected application. I tracked invoices, contractor licenses, environmental forms, accessibility reports, insurance certificates, payment schedules, and 53 pages of matching fund documentation. For 11 months, my life was binders, calls, and late nights in a basement office under City Hall. My family did not ask about any of it. When I missed Brynn's dress fitting because the state reviewer wanted a corrected roof warranty by 5 o'clock, my mother said, "Your sister only gets married once, Mira." I said, "The hall only gets one final inspection." She sighed. "There you go again, making paperwork sound like an emergency." 3 weeks later, Brynn announced that she and her fiancé, Cormac, had secured the Harrogate Civic Hall for the reception. She made the announcement at Sunday dinner, holding her phone up so everyone could see the booking confirmation. "It is perfect," she said. "Historic, elegant, not one of those plastic hotel ballrooms. The coordinator said we got one of the first private dates after reopening." My father looked impressed. "How did you manage that?" Brynn smiled. "People like me." I looked down at my plate. People like her. Grants like signatures. Buildings like inspections, but sure, people like her. I did not say anything because I had already learned that when you correct a family myth too early, they call you bitter. I told myself the reopening mattered more than credit. I told myself the town would have its hall back. I told myself Grandma would have been proud, whether anyone said my name or not. Then the week before the wedding, the venue director called me. Her name was Anika Rowe, and she had the tired voice of someone who knew every screw in that building by name. Mira, she said, I need to confirm your availability Saturday morning. For the final walkthrough and the certificate packet. The fire marshal signed his part. The elevator compliance letter came through. We still need your grant closeout certification before we can release the hall for private use. I closed my eyes. Saturday morning is my sister's wedding. I know, Anika said carefully, the Halden Faro reception. That is why I wanted to check with you directly. The pause after directly told me she knew more than she wanted to say. What happened? I asked. Anika exhaled. Your sister's planner has been telling vendors that your family has a special relationship with the project. She said the mayor personally approved early access. The mayor did not approve early access. No, he forwarded me the email with several question marks. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Is the hall safe? Yes, the building is ready, but the paperwork is not ceremonial. If that certificate is not signed and uploaded before the event, I cannot open the ballroom. I'll be there at 9. Thank you, she said. And Mira? Yes? Wear something nice. The mayor is coming by for the ribbon photo at 10. I laughed once, not because it was funny, but because my sister had spent months planning a wedding in a building that required my signature, and nobody in my family had thought that might matter. Saturday morning, before Brynn's text, I was planning to go early, sign the file, take the photo, slip home, change shoes, and attend the ceremony like a normal sister. After the text, I stood in my bathroom with Grandma's earrings in and let the old habit rise in me. Make it easy for them. Do not make a scene. Do the work anyway. Then I heard my grandmother's voice in memory, clear as if she were leaning against the sink. Never let people benefit from your silence and call it peace. I picked up the silver gift box from my dresser, placed it in my purse, and drove to Harrogate Civic Hall. The square was already decorated when I arrived. White ribbons twisted around lampposts. Delivery trucks lined the curb. A florist carried buckets of blush roses through the side entrance. Through the ballroom windows, I could see the glow of chandeliers that had not worked for 9 years, until the electrical contractor replaced half the panel. For a moment, I felt proud. Then I saw my mother. She stood on the front steps in a champagne dress, giving instructions to a teenage cousin carrying welcome bags. When she saw me crossing the street, her mouth tightened. Mira, she said, walking down 2 steps as if to intercept a package. What are you doing here? Good morning to you too. Brynn said she texted you. She did. My mother glanced around, embarrassed before anything embarrassing had happened. Then why would you come? I looked up at the building. Because it is not open yet. She blinked. Of course it is open. The vendors are inside. The vendors are setting up under conditional access. The public event cannot begin until the final certificate is signed. Her expression went blank in the familiar way it did whenever my work became too specific to dismiss safely. Mira, she said softly, not today. Not today had been my mother's favorite phrase for years. Not today when Brynn forgot my birthday dinner because she had a bridal expo. Not today when Dad used my emergency savings to help Brynn replace a camera lens and told me I was more stable. Not today when I asked why my name was not on the family table plan, even though cousins I had not seen in a decade had seats. Not today meant swallow it now so everyone else can enjoy themselves. I said, I have a 9 o'clock appointment with Annika. My mother stepped closer. Your sister is nervous. She does not need you marching around with city people making this about yourself. She booked a city-owned building. You know what I mean. I do. That was the problem. I knew exactly what she meant. Before she could answer, my father came out carrying a box of programs. He saw me and stopped. "Mira," he said, "don't start." "I haven't started anything." "You showing up after Brynn asked for space is starting something." "Dad, the venue needs my signature." He gave a short laugh. "Your signature." The way he said it made two vendors look over. I felt my face warm, but I kept my voice low. "Yes. You process forms for the city. Do not make that sound like you own the place." The front door opened behind him. Annika Rowe stepped outside in a navy suit with a tablet under her arm. Behind her came Mayor Eamon Price, silver-haired, tall, wearing the same green tie he wore in every official photo. My father's smile changed instantly. It widened, softened, became public. "Mayor Price," he said, "good morning. Beautiful day for the town." The mayor nodded politely, then looked past him. "Mira," he said with obvious relief, "there you are. We were worried when you weren't inside." My mother went very still. My father lowered the box of programs. Annika came down the steps. "We have the packet in my office. The fire marshal signed at 7:46. State portal is open. We just need your certification and upload." The mayor looked from my parents to me. "Is everything all right?" My mother answered too quickly. "Of course. We were just surprised. Mira did not mention she had official duties today." I looked at my mother. For the first time that morning, she did not meet my eyes. I could have protected her. I almost did. The old reflex twitched in my throat, ready to say something harmless. Instead, I said, "My sister texted me not to come to the wedding because I would embarrass the family. I came because the hall cannot legally open for the reception until I finish the grant closeout." The silence after that sentence was not loud. It was worse. It was clean. Mayor Price turned slowly toward my parents. "Your daughter is the reason this building reopened," he said. My father swallowed. "We know Mira works for the city." "No," Annika said. Her voice was calm, but I heard the steel under it. "Mira did not just work near this. She rebuilt the grant after the first application failed. She caught the insurance issue that would have delayed us 6 more months. She was in this building at midnight twice last week." My mother's face changed color in small stages. I should have felt victorious. Mostly, I felt tired. Mayor Price gestured toward the door. "Mira, shall we?" I followed him inside. The foyer smelled like fresh paint, roses, and coffee. Caterers paused as we passed. A violinist tuned in the corner. The ballroom doors stood open, revealing round tables dressed in ivory linen. At the center of each table sat glass vases and little cards that said Brynn and Cormac in gold foil. My sister stood under the balcony, wearing a white robe with bride embroidered on the back. She saw me between Annika and the mayor, and her expression sharpened. "What is she doing in here?" she asked. Several bridesmaids turned. Annika said, "Miss Halden is here to complete the final authorization." Brynn laughed once. "No, she is my sister. She is not authorizing my wedding." "Not your wedding," I said. "The building." Her eyes flicked to the mayor, then back to me. "Mira, this is not funny." "I agree." The mayor spoke before she could. "Brynn, I understand this is an important day. It is also a public building operating under a state preservation grant. Your reception can proceed when the required certificate is filed." Brynn stared at him like he had started speaking another language. "But we paid the deposit." Annika nodded. "And the contract states access depends on final clearance." "Nobody told me that." "It is on page 2, I said. Brynn's head snapped toward me. "Of course you read the contract." "Someone had to." That was the first time I saw panic cut through her anger. My mother hurried in behind us with my father at her shoulder. She must have heard enough to understand the room was tilting. "Mira," she said, voice low, "just sign whatever they need and let your sister have her day." I looked at the ballroom, at the flowers, at the family table where my name had been removed, at the welcome sign with my grandmother's pearls reflected faintly in the glass. "I came here to do my job," I said. "I will do it correctly." Annika led us to the small office behind the ballroom. The mayor stayed by the door. My parents followed until Annika stopped them. Authorized staff only. My father bristled. I am her father. Congratulations, Annika said. Authorized staff only. Inside the office, the packet waited on the desk. 3 folders, 1 tablet, 1 printed certification sheet, because I still liked paper when the stakes were high. I read every line, not because I wanted to delay the wedding, because my name was going on it. Through the door, I could hear muffled voices, Brynn crying, my mother soothing her, my father using the tone he reserved for people he wanted to impress and control at the same time. Annika stood beside me quietly. You do not have to rush, she said. Thank you. For what it is worth, I am sorry. I signed the first page. For the text? For them not knowing. I kept my eyes on the packet. They know what they need to know. Maybe today they learn more. I uploaded the certification at 9:38. The state portal returned a confirmation number at 9:41. Annika printed the certificate and handed me a copy. The top line read, Harrogate Civic Hall, Private Event Occupancy Clearance. Under Project Compliance Officer, Mira Halden. My name looked strange in official ink, not because I had never seen it before, but because I was about to carry it into a room where my family had spent years making it smaller. When we came out, the wedding party had gathered near the foyer. My mother was whispering urgently to Brynn. Cormac stood nearby, looking confused and increasingly uncomfortable. My father kept glancing at the mayor as if searching for a private version of him to negotiate with. Mayor Price checked his watch. We can still do the ribbon photo before the ceremony if everyone is ready. Brynn wiped under her eye. Ribbon photo? Annika said, for the reopening announcement. The town scheduled it today because your reception is the first private event. Brynn looked at me. No. My mother touched her arm. Sweetheart, Brynn's voice rose. No, she is not standing in my wedding photos. I said nothing. The mayor's expression cooled by several degrees. This is not a wedding photo, he said. It is a town record. It is my venue today. Annika looked at the certificate in her hand. It is a city venue today and every day. The room went quiet enough for the violinist to stop tuning. Brynn looked at me with wet, furious eyes. You did this on purpose. That sentence almost made me laugh. You told me not to come, I said. I came because the building needed a signature. You could have signed and left. I planned to attend my sister's wedding. After making everyone uncomfortable? No, Brynn, after being invited. Her mouth opened, but Cormac spoke first. You uninvited your sister this morning? Brynn turned on him. Not now. Before she signed off on our reception venue? I did not know that. He looked at me. Mira, did you help reopen this place? My father cut in. This is getting out of hand. Cormac did not look away from me. I said, yes. He closed his eyes for 1 second, like a man doing math he did not enjoy. Then he turned to Brynn. You told me your family had connections. Brynn flushed. We do. You meant Mira. No one answered. There are moments when a family myth does not explode. It simply loses oxygen. The ribbon photo happened at 10:04. I stood between Annika and the mayor while Brynn watched from 10 feet away, furious that the first official photo in her venue was not a wedding photo at all. It was a town record, and my name belonged in it. The ceremony started late, but not ruined. No one turned off the lights. No one canceled the food. The ballroom filled with guests who had no idea the building had almost become another family weapon before noon. My sister avoided me until the cake was cut. Then she found me near the side hallway where the old donor plaques had been cleaned and rehung. Are you happy? She asked. I looked at her dress, at the perfect hair, at the mascara repaired by someone patient. No. That seemed to surprise her. You looked happy in the photo. I was proud. That is different. She crossed her arms. You humiliated me. You texted me not to come to your wedding because I would embarrass you. You did that before I said one word. I was stressed. Stress explains tone. It does not invent contempt. Her face hardened. You always do this. Do what? Make everything sound like a court case. I make things sound specific. That is why people trust my paperwork. She looked away first. I wanted one day without feeling judged by you, she said. The sentence landed softer than I expected because I believed part of it. Brynn, I was not judging your wedding. I was coming to it. She swallowed. We stood under the donor plaques while music thumped through the ballroom wall. Finally, I reached into my purse and took out the silver gift box. This was for you, I said. She looked at it but did not take it. What is it? A bracelet, Grandma's pearl clasp. I had it repaired. Her lips parted. I thought you might want something of hers today, I said. But I am not giving it to someone who uninvites me by committee. I put the box back in my purse. Brynn's eyes filled again, but this time she did not perform the tears. They just arrived. Mira, no, I am not doing the thing where I comfort you for hurting me. That was the boundary. Quiet, plain, strong enough to stand on. I left after dinner, not dramatically, not during the first dance. I waited until the plates were cleared, thanked Annika, and walked out through the front doors of a building that smelled like roses and new varnish. My father followed me down the steps. You made your point, he said. I turned around. What point was that? He looked tired under the lamplight, older than he had that morning. That you are important. No, Dad, that is the part you still do not understand. I did not become important today. I became visible. He had no answer for that. The next week, the town posted the ribbon photo online. Mayor Price tagged the restoration team. My name was in the caption, not as Brynn's sister, not as Colette and Rafe's practical daughter, as Project Compliance Officer. Brynn did not call for 3 weeks. When she finally did, I let it ring once before answering. I found the bracelet box in one of the wedding photos, she said. Okay. I did not know you had Grandma's clasp repaired. You did not ask. She was quiet. I am sorry for the text, she said. It was not everything. It was not enough to rebuild us. But it was the first apology she had given me without adding a reason I should understand. Thank you, I said. Can we talk sometime? Sometime, I said. Not today. I kept the bracelet. I wear it to meetings where people think compliance means obstruction. I touch the pearl clasp when someone says paperwork, like it is a dirty word. My family still tells the wedding story differently, depending on who is listening. In mine, a woman did her job after being told her presence was shameful. The building opened because the work was finished. I went home because the boundary was finished too. That is my story. One text message, one restored hall, and one family that learned the person they kept outside was the person holding the key. If you have ever been treated like background while carrying the whole file, remember this: quiet work is still power when your name is on the document. Share this story with someone who needs that reminder, and tell me in the comments where you are listening from.